One of my favorite Bible verses is Philippians 4:7, that talks about the peace of God and how it surpasses all understanding. And that is so true. I mean, it's hard to explain when you're going through a difficult season or time and you're able just to walk through it with just a perfect peace. And your brain is saying, like, okay, you should be upset, or this should be more difficult. You should be crying, not smiling. And you can't explain it, but in your heart, to just feel this overwhelming peace and comfort, knowing that everything's going to be okay. Let me read the actual verse to you. It says, actually, I'm going to start in Philippians 4:6. It says, "Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus." So the key is not to be anxious when you are confronted with those situations or those trials or those disappointments, but to go to God in prayer and just lay it all out before Him. And then His peace can come in and give you that comfort you desire and give you wisdom to know how to walk it out. I think so many times we get caught in just those situations, negative situations, problems, things that would just, emotionally bring us down, discourage us, cause hopelessness. If we can learn in those moments just to run to Jesus and just lay it before Him, allowing Him to show us how to walk it out. What does that look like? Somebody says something that's hurtful, and our emotions right away want to get defensive or pull back, maybe crawl in a corner and be discouraged, or let it affect how we view ourselves. And instead, if we can, in that moment, say, okay, Jesus, this is what I'm hearing. What do you say about that? What's the truth in this situation? Maybe you've just heard that you've lost your job. Oh my goodness. And just the fear and anxiety just like rushes in a moment, just to grip your heart and bring fear. But what if we could learn in that moment to stop and just say, okay, Lord, here's the news I'm getting. Here's the report. Like, what is your report, Lord? What are you saying about this? How can I walk this out with you? Because I don't want to give fear any place in my life. I don't want to be controlled by fear or doubt, anxiety. Even though the situation may in the natural warranted, maybe I have every excuse, quote unquote, to be fearful or worried, it really doesn't produce anything. It doesn't help anything. I can't think clearly and straight when I'm in anxiety and fear. So just learning in that moment, as soon as we get that bad news, as soon as there's that bad report or situation, learning to go before the Lord and say, okay, here's what's happening. What is your truth in this? How can I walk this out with you and not let the enemy rob me any more than what he's trying to do? Because we already have the promise that God works all things together for our good. So no matter how bad the situation, no matter how bad the news is, God can work it for our good. But we have to choose that. We have to choose to say, okay, Lord, I trust you. I'm going to rest in you. I'm going to bring this to you, and I'm going to walk this out with you. And that means I can have peace in the midst of total chaos, which is, oh my goodness, it's the best. I don't know about you, but for me, some of the most difficult things to process is when it involves our kids. I have 3 boys, and so I've definitely had some very trying times, and I'm walking through a very trying time right now. But I'm doing it with Jesus, and He's remarkable. He has every answer I need. And if I keep choosing Him, I mean, some days I can feel the hopelessness try to grip my heart, or thoughts of fear and doubt. And it's like, oh no, not going there. I've already seen how amazing it is when you do it with Jesus. So I just turn my focus back on Him, and I feel that peace come flood my heart, and I say, okay, God, you've got this, and I'm doing it with you, and I'm not going to allow any foothold of the enemy to come in to rob me and steal from me, because that doesn't produce anything good. So just staying focused on Jesus, keeping my eyes on Him during those times, and allowing that peace to flood my heart. Choosing it, saying yes. Even though your brain is saying like, okay, you should be upset, you should be in fear, you should be worried, you should be concerned. No, I don't should anything. I block those should words, and I say, no, I rest in peace, because that's the God I serve.